All systems nominal.
Coming at you across the inner sphere from the Gatekeepers battle fleet stationed somewhere in dark reaches of space, you're listening to the GateCast. Today's transmission includes discussions on the Gatekeepers faction split, as well as guest speakers on the subject of military simulation. We'll find out what happened to the patch review section, and have a brief talk about community spirit in MWO. Now, on to the command tower.
Greetings, Gatekeepers. This is the Black Hand, coming at you from Fleet Command, and this is the HLGK GateCast for August 6th, 3052. We've been trying to bring this to you for a long time, the GateCast. We want to give a big thanks to everyone involved in bringing this wonderful thing to life. The main purpose of the GateCast is going to be to relay information to our Despair members across the world. Whatever time zone you're in, whatever time you're on, you'll have a voice record of your teammates, their opinions, their thoughts on all current events going from here on out. So one of the things that probably bears at least a little bit of public discussion is our recent split from the Liao faction in-game. WTF GK, jump out of Liao space? Well, joining me for this discussion is the Gatekeepers 2IC, Xiao Stoneblade.
Hey everyone.
So, what's the deal? Are we not House Liao anymore? Well, I'd say, yeah, we are still House Liao. If you look at any of our forum profiles, you'll find, if you look hard enough, a Liao symbol, a Liao insignia, somewhere on the post, I promise you.
Yeah, and as far as the game mechanic's concerned, we're a roleplay unit, so roleplaying for us, it's 3052. The Star League's been reformed in roleplay. The Sun Tzu was voted as First Lord of the new Star League to unify it, and so having a Liao loyalist unit go out and fight with Karitas or go out and fight with some Steiners, that's pretty legit for our roleplay. Even having us go and brawl with some clan faction units would still be pretty legit.
Well, yeah, and speaking in terms of the roleplay, don't believe everything that you hear. It doesn't mean anything. HLGK does not mean House Liao goes Kurita, though I do like that one.
I still like the Horny Lonely Geeks Club.
Yeah. Well, we're Laoists no matter where we go. We'll always wear that compelling insignia. We'll keep your gates. We'll crash the enemy gates, or vice versa as applicable as we sell our mercenary services across space.
Yeah, if you can find us, you can hire us.
Of course, there's a lot of stuff we're not going to talk about that led to the decision to finally leave Liao, but we'll leave it like this. Basically, we didn't feel that the Liao community was one in which HLGK could grow any further. We have friends in the community, but none of them are in our own faction, so...
And even those that wanted to be friends in our faction, they were only friends for half the time. As long as we thought on the same exact line that they were thinking they were friends. And it was like, that's not how a community works. Communities don't grow if they're not able to evolve. And if a community is just down to bickering where I'm better than you, well, the community's not growing. And that's one of the reasons why people don't play in Liao. It's really sad when other mercenary units come into a forum post and are excited about something and then have to get involved with the bickering from inside the faction. They don't like to do that. I don't like to do that.
Well, we've been doing this for 2 years now, and it seems like every negative experience that we had was directly related to the population of House Liao, the in-game faction. Now, I don't really want to go into that. The new mission has been redacted, and we're not authorized to talk about all that. However, it is worth saying that, we had lots of friends. We tried to organize the community, People didn't hold up their ends of the agreements, bad blood, all that stuff. So we're just not there anymore. And our team, they seem to be taking it very well.
So where we're going from here, we did put a new Facebook page together. We also put together a private Facebook page for members of the Gatekeepers so that they could actually have a place to discuss things. This was actually brought up on the forums recently, that if you want a private place to discuss things, you make a private place. You don't do it on the game's forums. You don't do it somewhere public. If you guys all can't be online at the same time to talk about it, they have to have a place where they can bounce ideas and talk to each other about it. So, as a group, we put together for all of our pilots a Facebook page that they can go to, throw ideas back and forth at each other on there, talk about things. And we have had a Facebook page for the command staff now for over a year. Or you go back on that, you can see all sorts of stuff that we've talked about as commanders for our unit to see where we want to go and how we want to evolve our group. Which brings us to the new revisions that we're going to be going through. You want to speak about that a little bit?
Well, yeah, I think we'll get to the individual doctrine discussion later in the program, but for now, everybody should know, we got a lot of flack all this time for our rules and tech guidelines and all that stuff that we put people through the certification process for. And I think it's worth noting also that a lot of people that complained about that continue to complain about that to this day. They call me soup Nazi and all that other good stuff. They voted for some of those regulations that we implemented. But after 2 years of seeing how this is going and reconciling with ourselves, this is not really like any MechWarrior game that's come before it. We've decided to change and revise our doctrine to put it in practical terms and simplify the certification process for new recruits. In other words, it's time to evolve with the game. That kind of goes along with our faction move as well.
Yeah, because the way the game is set up, it's not set up for a player to stay in one faction their entire time. The game's not set up that way until they finally say, this is the release version of Community Warfare, and now the shit that you do actually means something other than going around and getting free stuff. There's no reason to stay with one faction. There's no reason to be a permanent member of a faction. It's more about, if it's a free-to-play title, and you need to get a mech bay, and you can't fork out the $5 to get a mech bay, well, the easiest way to get that would be to play Community Warfare in a faction that you haven't played in before. You play 2 good games against on the clan front, and you have a free mech bay. And it's that simple. It's that easy.
Exactly. I think that the decisions that we've made, it's less down to personal enmity than it is to moving our game and our operation and everything that goes around it, which I think is unparalleled by most units in MWO, to serve better our own population. We're still a fairly large unit as far as it goes. We regularly trim the chaff. If you're inactive, it shows up on the community manager, and we will remove you after a time. So every one of our 30 members is active, and we don't want to lose those members to sheer boredom. I know a lot of people think we lose members all the time, but that's not what happens. People love it at HLGK. What they don't like is MWO. And I think that a lot of that came from our ridiculous decision to be House Liao loyalists. Now, I say that ridiculous because for a long time, I've actually been pushing for this faction move.
Yeah, it's been, I think, all the way since Beta 1 of CW. Even before they announced that it was Beta 1 and they're going to do the Battle of Takayed, you've been bringing it up to have us move out of Liao and go explore other factions. And even back in Beta 1, there's a recording out there of us going to the FRR in response to them asking for help, calling for people to come and help them defend their territories and stuff. And so we showed up and we did that.
Yeah, and that's one thing I can say about HLGK. It's really nice is when we move as a unit, we actually move as a unit. I mean, a lot of people catch us slipping out there in the pubs, but we're getting better every day. And we take noobs. So if you're a noob out there, you're listening, you're looking for a unit, come see me in the Combat Information Center anytime.
That's what it's about, is finding people that you enjoy playing with and getting in there and actually stomping some mechs. It's not always easy, but it's better than being alone out there.
What has been interesting is the amount of enthusiasm that we've got. I mean, a lot of our guys were diehard Laoists, and when we first okayed the plan in the command tower, which I'm not a dictator, I have several officers, and everybody gets spoken to, everybody's voice is heard. The enthusiasm that drummed up literally from the ground. We thought we were going to lose members and people were going to be mad that we were switching the faction. That could not have been further the truth. Actually, it brought several members who were inactive back into the unit.
Yeah, it was interesting because it took about 2 weeks to talk about it in the command tower because we wanted to talk to all the officers. A lot of times myself and Zavalm are online, but not all the other officers are online at the same time. So it took literally 2 weeks for all 7 of us to be able to get together long enough to actually discuss it. And after that 2-week time period, we brought it to the unit. We waited until we talked to everybody in the unit who was active on our active list. And all of them were excited about it. All of them were like, hey, yeah, that's a great idea, We should go do this. We should go get more mechs. From the roleplay side, there's different things that we can do. We can run our storyline. We can still keep that going. And from the game perspective, it was, if I'm not going to put money into a free-to-play game, how am I going to get the most out of that game? How am I going to make it better for me? And a lot of the guys are excited. A lot of the guys want to make it better for themselves. They want to have a reason to play MechWarrior again. And that's what this has done. It's given us a reason to actually play the game again.
Exactly. And you know what? I think also interacting with the Kurita population, through the faction chat, through the forums, and all of the other guys that were with Steiner Fight Night and everything. We'll talk about that in the upcoming program. It's going great. Everybody loves playing. We've got more people on during our peak nights than we've had in a long while. And Stoneblade, you can talk about the summer slump if you like.
Yeah, so something I've noticed in MechWarrior, I've been playing this game for 3 years. I started playing in closed beta, June of closed beta. And something that I noticed was June of closed beta, there was over 100 people on my friends list online. By August, there was like 20. And it wasn't because, they didn't like the game. It was closed beta. They were testing stuff out. They were changing lots of things. Lots of fun stuff happened in closed beta. But it was just, as the summer drags on, people want to go outside, especially on the North American and European side. Weather's nice, no reason to sit at your computer and play a game. You can go outside and you can run around, they'll go do that. I know the guys in Australia and stuff that were in our unit, they actually started getting involved with some other things because, well, their IP was hitting them with 200 to 300 pings, even though there's the Oceanic server, they just announced this, that some of the guys are still getting 300 or 500 pings to the server that's less than 200 miles away from them because of their ISP. So with the summer slump, you always see this. Every year you see this in the summer. People slow down. They don't want to play as much. They're busy. They want to go do more family stuff. And that's fine, They come back. School starts again in September. People come back online. You get a bigger influx of players coming in. If the weather's bad outside, you'll see more players coming in. So as snowstorms start to happen, more players tend to be at home playing on their computers.
Right, and we fully expect this about November, right? That's when people will come running back.
I expect to see it more in October, especially for players that are like in Michigan and Montana and up in Canada. I'll see more of them in October. Remember, we had players in Alaska. I've seen them on my friends list. They're still there. They haven't blocked me, but I haven't seen them play in a while now. They might be out working or whatever, but as soon as the weather starts to change up there, they'll be back inside and they'll be back playing again.
Exactly. So you take the effects of the summer slump, you add to that general dissatisfaction with MechWarrior, and that's what you've got is an inactive unit. I think we're seeing that a lot all across the Inner Sphere. Everybody's reporting that. But it's coming back, and we've got a new plan for the next several months. We're going to be redoing the tactical guide, simplification of everything. It's going to be great. We're going to go back to training, and I think that about wraps that up. We'll be back with more program for you. This is the GateCast.
You're listening to the HLGK GateCast, recorded directly from the Fleet CIC. Visit houselao.org for more of the Gatekeepers' laid-back grooves.
All systems nominal.
Welcome to the patch review. This is Cao Stoneblade of the Liao Gatekeepers. We're going to look at a few things that this patch added in. The first thing we're going to look at is the fact that we now have oceanic servers. I usually get about 200 ping to this server. It plays okay. The higher my ping is, the more host state rewind I have to rely on, but I am able to play it. It is alright. I only lagged out a couple of times on that. The next big thing you'll notice is the select mech screen. As you can see, the select mech screen has all these pictures of your mechs. As you go in and modify your mechs and save them, this picture will update from the basic picture to a picture that has colors on it as your mech actually appears in the game itself. You'll see that this mech doesn't have any weapons on it, yet this one does. If I was to strip all the weapons off of this executioner and then save it, it will save the image without any weaponry on it. Pretty neat. So the next thing that's on here is there is a whole bunch of filters up here that'll help you decide what you want to be looking at, whether you want to just look at trial mechs or your mechs that you own, what class or what chassis. You know, so you have it by the chassis list, which is the one we're used to, or by class, which is by weight class. You can see all the different classes there. You can select all. We're going to expand all as well, so that everything shows up on here, as you can see like that. Next, you can filter your heroes and champion mechs, or just show your hero mechs, which there are no clan hero mechs, so it's not going to show me anything, see? Okay, so you have your number of mech bays up here, and then next to that is this up and down arrow. Go ahead and click that down and up, and that reverses the order for either assault, heavy, medium, light, or light, heavy, medium, assault, whichever you want on top. The next button that you need to be aware of is over here on mech stats. You open that up, and it'll give you a briefer overview of what's on your mech stats over here, showing how many hard points it has. And then you click on the component and it shows you what's in that component, as you can see. Okay, after that, there is one last thing, and that is in the private lobbies. So you create a private lobby, you got a few guys running around, you want to watch it, you can go to spectate it. I believe you have to have premium time for that. I am not positive, I haven't looked into that. I do want to record some videos in here because that's how those really cool recorded videos were done, was using the spectator tool. So now you can do that as well. But you do need to have at least 2 people with premium time to launch without full teams. And that is a brief patch review of what happened on August 4th. Looking forward to August 18th. They're supposed to add more stuff for like the Oceanic server. Sorry, not the Oceanic server, but the server list up here that's supposed to like have ping information as well on there. And then they're also supposed to add some more stuff in the mech select. Hopefully they'll give you a favorites panel, so you can have 4 favorite mechs already selected like they used to. Because that's one of the things that people miss, is that one. And then more tools and information for how to run the spectator tool. So, keep it going, keep everything going, stay strong, play mechs, play lots of mechs, and just get out there and stomp stuff. Happy hunting, Mech Warriors.
So as you can see, we've folded the patch review segment into the new GateCast. Stone's got it down pat. He's great at this, and we should be providing you with one roughly every patch day, hopefully. In the meantime, the old patch review segments are now available in the archive. And if you haven't figured it out by now, this is the GateCast, and this has been Patch Review. Alright, welcome back to the GateCast, and this is Doctrine Discussion. Joining me today for a conversation on military simulation is our own Littlefly. How you doing today?
Not too bad. How are you?
It's been going really well today. Everything's coming together. There's just a few more things I've got to knock out. So, I want to talk with you today about military simulation and how the gatekeepers basically get a bad rap because that word gets bandied around on forums and ex-members have bad things to say about their experience. But in reality, I think that we're one of the most laid-back units in the inner sphere. Can we get your thoughts on that, Major?
Well, I mean, the thing is we have a structure for getting things done. Therefore, there's not a lot of confusion and there's not a lot of backbiting and stuff like that. We have a chain of command and we follow a chain of command. And I, for one, prefer that since it takes the ambiguity out of the system.
Right, we're seeing a lot of that start to weed into the fabric of the unit. A lot of people are weirded out by the fact that sometimes we don't have to talk to one another, and they're like, orders, and we're like, sorry, dude, you just haven't been indoctrinated.
A lot of that is getting used to the play style and understanding where you're supposed to be in the unit. If we do our practices at the lance level, as long as you stick with your lance, you should know what you're doing.
Exactly. That's one of the reasons that we built the certification program, and then we also have an attendance policy. The certification program itself, I think, has proved a little unwieldy, not unnecessary. It's really served its purpose, and we can see that in every soldier that's been trained under it. But I think now, I don't know if you've looked at the community manager lately under the tactical guide, but it's all been reorganized. You got a chance to look at that?
I hadn't noticed that it had been reorganized. I just checked it the other day.
The TAC-G section on the Gatekeepers Community Manager now shows the reduced number of certifications that we're actually going to be training people on. A lot of that stuff is going to be pushed into the same thing. It's basically all the same information minus all of the extraneous stuff. One of the things about it is the reduction of roles. We're going to do away with lance roles completely. We're going to focus on what we're calling maneuver groups. Maneuver groups will be defined by what level and what style of game we're in, whether you got 4, 8, 12 men, whether we're doing league, CW, or just the public drops.
Okay, I hadn't seen the maneuver group stuff. I'll have to take a look at that.
Well, all this stuff is rolling out. It's going to be pretty quick. I mean, it's all stuff that we've already done already. But for you as a company commander and you're our training director, would you care to comment on the phenomenon of, on the one hand, we can take a completely new player, run them through the certification program, and we've got a great soldier. On the other hand, if we take an experienced player, one who's played either in other units, not military units, but kind of laid back casual units, or they've played by themselves in the pubs for a long time, we run them through the certification program, they have problems.
I don't think that's necessarily true. We've seen with different people, such as who has played extensively, if they go into the tactical manual and they're interested in learning rather than just staying true to what they've been doing in the past, that they can learn and they do come up to speed very quickly. It lets them know what's required of them within the unit, and it lets us know that they understand what is required of them.
Yeah, so it really is based on the player. I mean, we've got a certain community that we've managed to build, and a certain, I don't know, we're really loose, and most of the people in the unit, already know that. It's only to newcomers that we're really intimidating.
Well, I think it's just a matter of getting to know the unit, and sometimes, you have people that, for whatever, it's different strokes for different folks. Some people like playing this way. Some people prefer a more casual environment. We are pretty laid back, but we do have our guidelines on how things are supposed to work.
And they work pretty good, I think. It's been a really good experiment. We've really lessened our hold on the reins as far as that go. Once everybody got the idea, once everybody was in the right place at the right time, we started to see things get boiled down. That's why we're shedding some of the individual mech configuration roles and all that other stuff. We're all really excited about it, and it should be out much faster than the original tactical revision had projected. You're listening to the GateCast, and this has been Doctrine Discussion. We want to give a very special thanks to everybody who helped aid in the production in some way. Our graphic designer, Sheridan Hurd, our animator, Averkios Corrales, and our announcer, Galvez11. Thank you guys so much for all the work that you put in on this. Also, special thanks to Smokin' Toads for their killer cut skeleton. You can check out Smokin' Toads at reverbnation.com/smokintoads. Be sure to check those guys out. For the HLGK command staff, somewhere out there in deep space, I am the Black Hand, and thank you for joining us. We'll see you on our next edition. Until then, good hunting, Gatekeepers.
This has been the HLGK GateCast, a semi-regular MechWarrior online podcast for the Gatekeepers fleet. This is Galvez11 signing off from the Combat Information Center. Good hunting, Gatekeepers. None shall pass.